Full disclosure, this side of the room is Helena's and my side looks clean, so that's all I'm gonna say about that. Hi guys! It's Lavinia here, aka a girl with a view, and today we are gonna talk about parents and how to talk to your parents, because that stuff can be hard and a little bit scary. Here are some tips on how to talk to your parents about certain situations. For today's installation of Parent Talk, we're going to be talking about gaining some independence, because sometimes as a kid, it feels like you have no say over what happens in your life. Even I feel that way sometimes as an 18-year-old. So we're going to talk about that. Independence is a tricky balance to find when you're a child. Sometimes it feels like you're not allowed to go anywhere, have anything, do anything that you want to do because you are a kid, and the parents have agency over your life. You may feel like you're constantly asking yourself, how do I gain some independency? How do I gain the right to make my own decisions? I have some tips to use in a conversation that might help. I specify in a conversation because these things are going to have to happen over time with multiple conversations. There is no keyword or key phrase that you can say to your parents that will immediately make them give you your independence. Tip number 1, consider why those restrictions are there in the first place. Cover all of your bases. Going in with an understanding on why a rule or restriction is there in the first place will help your parents feel heard. It will A, start a new conversation. B, it will also help you build a strong persuasion against it because you have an understanding of why it's there and what it's for. And C, it will save you the same rant about why it's there in the first place. Maybe knowing why the restriction or rule is there will actually help you understand where your parents are coming from. And while you may not particularly like the rule or the restriction, you know that it's there for your safety. I find it hard to believe that parents make rules willy-nilly just so they can make rules and restrictions. Your parents care about you, and they make rules for a reason, so consider why they are there in the first place. That's not to say that every rule should be there for your safety just because your parents care about you and they had you in mind when they thought about them. There are certainly some rules that I've argued with my parents on because I didn't feel like they were necessary. But with some proper discussion and me having to prove myself in certain areas, like maturity and responsibility, in the end, I was able to gain some independency, and that rule will be changed. But it takes time. Number 2, recognize that removing these restrictions and rules puts more responsibility and expectations on your shoulders. Don't expect the rule to disappear and then you don't have to do anything to compensate for that. Use the words. Say out loud that you understand this means more responsibility for you. Most of the time when these rules and restrictions are made, whatever they may be, it's because your parents feel like you don't have the maturity or the capacity to take on that responsibility. Recognize that fact and know if you are ready for that responsibility or not. If you really think you are, tell it to your parents. Tell them that you think you're ready for the responsibility. Like, use those words. You'll blow their minds. It may sound super simple to say, I recognize that this means more responsibility for me, and whatever that responsibility is, you have to voice it. It may seem super simple, but it actually shows your parents that you've matured and you have an understanding of why the restriction and rule is there in the first place. If you have a plan for what you will do and how you will follow through after the rule or restriction is lifted, like how you will commit to the responsibility of whatever it is, have a game plan. Like, absolutely have a game plan, because then it shows your parents that not only are you ready for this responsibility, but you've thought ahead for it and you know what to do. If you really go through with it, like if you manage to talk to your parents about the rules and come up with an alternative, know that your parents are trusting you to follow through. Know that they're trusting you to lift this restriction. Don't abuse or break that trust, because it'll make it very hard to lift another rule and restriction later on. Keep that good communication up throughout the whole thing. Breaking the trust means you have to work 10 times harder to gain it back before even trying to do anything else. Ask me how I know. Oh, the stories I could make of everything I did that just broke my parents' trust in me so much that I couldn't do anything. Like, I could not do anything. I don't miss those days. Also have a separate plan for acceptable consequences on what will happen if you break their trust, if you don't follow through. A consequence that directly involves the situation. Like maybe the restriction or rule is put back in place. Maybe you have to write an essay about like why it's there. I don't know, like come up with something, go into the conversation already having a few things in mind. Otherwise, your parents will just decide for you and you will have no say on what happens. Tip number 3. Healthy communication always involves listening and honest, healthy conversation. When you sit down with your parents, make it very clear that you want them to listen to you. Ask that they don't interrupt or talk over you, and that it's very important to you for feeling heard about this conversation. And then vice versa, do the same for them. Communication goes both ways. Tip number 4. Initiate that conversation. You start it. If you're the one who brings it up and you're the one who starts it, everything is on your side of the court. You can decide how it goes because you're the one who started this conversation, and you have every right to say, don't interrupt me, I need you to listen to me, and then I will listen to you. You need to feel heard first. Tip number 5. Know that they love you. I know it's already been said, but 9 times out of 10, parents put down these rules and restrictions not because they hate you and want to make your life miserable, though I know sometimes it can feel that way, but they actually really love you and they want to protect you. So keep that in mind, like know it and understand it, and don't dismiss it, because their feelings are just as valid as yours are. Know for them, it can be scary to give your child a new responsibility, especially if you feel like they're maybe not ready for it. It's like asking your pet to mow the lawn. They might be able to do it, but you're not sure what will happen and if they will get hurt. Okay, that might have been a little extreme of an analogy, but you get the idea. Tip number 6. This is a process. Trust has to be earned, and sometimes it's hard to give. Know that this likely won't be resolved right away, and it will take multiple discussions. This is new for your parents. It will take time. They're used to making all the decisions for you because you were a little baby who couldn't do stuff for themselves, or a toddler who didn't know any better. Be patient. Try not to be too pushy. Listen to them and try to understand them. Maybe come up with a compromise if you guys aren't ready to make a full transition. Set a test period. See if it works. It will take time. It will take time. Oh my gosh, it will take time. Drill that into your head. It will not happen right away. And if it does, I am very jealous and you are very lucky. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Remember that every living situation is different. Assess whether or not it's safe for you to even bring something up with your parents. Maybe have an adult ready to be there for you. Like, comment, subscribe if you like this video. Thank you so much. Let me know. I love the encouragement, and God knows I need the validation. What else would you like to see on this parent talk idea thing? I kind of want to make more of these for certain subjects. So this one was just about gaining some independence, but if you're struggling with talking to your parents about other things, comment down below. Maybe I'll make a video about it. Good luck. You got this. This has been Lavinia, aka a girl with a view. Thank you so much, and I'll see you later. Bye.